Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Animambo here, coming back at you with part 10 of What If Obito Got a Second Chance, otherwise known as The Work of Fate on Wattpad. And if you want to read the story for yourself or don't like the way that I narrate things, that's totally fine. The link in the description will bring you there. The other links in the description will bring you to the Discord server and the Instagram. We have a good time over there. If you want to reach out to me privately or personally, those are the ways to do that. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. I respond to all comments, heart all comments, and like all comments when I see them. If I don't see them or perhaps miss it, I apologize in advance. It's not intentional, and I do try my best to respond to all comments when I see them. Also, if you subscribe, please turn on the post notifications so that you get notified whenever I post, because I am hoping to be a little more consistent in the future, in the very near future. So, yeah. Also, no, actually, I believe that's about it. So, without further ado, Future Seth, cue the intro, please. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that other intro. The intro for like part 38 of What If Naruto was like Minato, that actually got copyrighted. So this is probably going to be the intro for the very near future. Hopefully this intro does not get copyrighted. So yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say about that. Without further ado, let's get right on into the video, okay? Obito's point of view. I always hated the Central Uchiha compound where the police force had their breaks, and where the civilians could give you a firm stare and you wouldn't even notice. Well, I noticed, probably because they did it so much. But since they'd done it so much, I'd gradually lost the heartbreaking effect it used to have on me when I was a kid, wanting to be meaningful. I knocked on the door relatively hard. I must have been a little agitated if I have fellow clansmen. I glanced behind me at the people passing by, and at the moment the door creaked open. "Can I help you?" I didn't realize the door had opened till that moment, and I quickly focused on the person who had asked the question. The voice had given him away, but it was still strange to see the young Itachi again. Yeah, I have an appointment with Fugaku, you see," I said, and bent down to be in eye level with the boy. "Oh, you're Obito." "That's me." "Okay, come in. I'll tell father you're here." "Thank you." I stepped inside the mansion. They didn't have a mansion, did they? Maybe I'm tripping. It didn't take long before Itachi came back with Fugaku in tow. "Lord Fugaku," I said, and bowed slightly as an honorable greeting. "Obito, I'm glad to see you actually made it on time." Sweat dropped at the comment and straightened my back. "Now, if you'll follow me to my office, we can begin our discussion." "What discussion?" I questioned, but didn't dare say it out loud. "Son, why don't you go and help your mother with the laundry?" "Okay, father." Itachi nodded and left. And so we proceeded with walking down the hallway to Fugaku's office. Kakashi's point of view. He did agree to meeting up, didn't he? Or am I missing something? I asked, mildly irritated that Obito was over an hour late to the team meeting we had set up. "He most definitely did," Minato-sensei said, and scratched the back of his head. It had been a long time since we'd just had a casual team meetup. "Should I go get him?" I asked. If I had been my old self, I would have been furious, but now I was just mildly irritated. "Excuse me." We were all caught by surprise at the new voice. "Tenzo?" Minato asked, still startled by the child. "Obito told me to come here. He said he didn't want me to be in the house alone all day." "All day? Where's Obito?" I asked. A scary man came by yesterday, a clan head. He wanted to talk to Obito today." "Fugaku did?" Minato-sensei asked himself more than anyone, but Tenzo thought the question was for him, and he fidgeted as he answered. "I don't know his name." "Oh, that's also completely okay, Tenzo," Minato said to the little boy, and then continued to address us. "Obito had a very good excuse not to be here today, but why don't we spend the time with Tenzo instead?" Okay, so I guess that just kind of ties loose end. Fugaku's point of view. "So, Obito," I said, but didn't end the sentence. I just simply watched him sit down on the pillow on the floor. An awkward silence filled the room. Not that I minded, as I knew making him anxious would help me. "Does he know that I know of his Mangekyo?" I wondered. "Is your shutting gun coming to use?" He stiffened for merely a second before answering. "Yes, sir. It's proven to be very useful on missions." "I see. That's good. What of your Mangekyo?" I wasn't one to hold back, so I had nothing against being so forthcoming. Obito, however, was gaping at me. But then his whole demeanor changed. He got this look in his eye. That's also proven useful. I was slightly taken aback that he wasn't even trying to deny it. He just cut right to the chase. I liked it. How? The visual effect is nothing to scoff at. Much better than the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. And then there's also the unique ability. What's your ability, Obito? It's called Kamui. Authority of the gods. Isn't that a bit much? I don't know if that's exactly what it's named. I hope so, but that's what the book says. So we're just gonna read it like so. How should I know? I'm not the one who named it. Obito was so much different than usual, but I still couldn't put my finger on it. Was that he was engaged in an actual serious discussion, or was it the look in his eyes? Something dark and cold hiding behind the obsidian eyes of his. What does it do, this Kamui? It's a dimensional jutsu. It allows me to either move myself or an object into a secluded dimension that's only obtainable by using my eyes. I was baffled. A completely other dimension. No such thing has ever been heard of. What sort of dimension is this? It's nothing special. It's an endless void of what you could call building blocks. Your Mangekyo is definitely something, Obito. Much more than I would have expected. What are you gonna do now that you know this? What can I do? Normally I would recruit such a powerful clansman to the police force, but yeah, that's a no on my part. As expected. Listen, Obito, I'm on your side. That's why I even called you to this meeting, to ask you to stay low. Obito's expression morphed into a question mark. The Mangekyo is much more powerful than you can fathom. If other clansmen knew of this, they would want you to use that power to do ungodly things. And knowing you, it would break you. You mean controlling the tailed beasts? Family history, you know? Being the descendant of Madara and all. Everything I thought I knew about Obito was coming to an end today. Not that I didn't know that his great-grandfather was Madara, but that information was supposed to be withheld from you until you reached the age of 25. Then you should have hid the documents better. I pinched the brink of my nose. This was beginning to give me a headache. You are a special one, Obito. Is it that you've played us all for a fool? Who knows, he said, leaning back by leaning his weight on his arms firmly on the floor behind him. I wasn't going to get any more out of him. Maybe I didn't want to either. It was slightly frightening to see Obito of all people act this way. But at the same time, it was amusing to know that he was growing up. Then, that's all. You had a meeting today, did you not? Yeah, I'll be incredibly late. Not that that's not the usual. I'll let myself out. As he did, I just kept sitting and keeping the rising headache in check. Wait. Fugaku had it? Wait a minute. Oh, that's cool. Alright, well, okay. Sorry, it was just a little author's note. So the author kind of, like, describes their thoughts about Fugaku. Like, how they don't believe he's evil. Which, I mean, I guess I could see it. Whatever. Let's just, continue where we left off. So, I'm gonna be a little nicer this video, and, we're gonna do 2 chapters in the first half of the reading, and then 2 chapters in the second half of the reading, so as to get the most out of it for you guys. It'll make the video a little bit longer, which I know some of you enjoy, and yeah. Also, this video you'll see, but this video is not going to be edited like the other ones. The part 38 and the What If Naruto Was Like Minato videos will probably not be coming out like every day anymore, but I will assure you that I will be editing them more thoroughly. Like, these videos will just be the picture and the reading. But those videos will be a little more thorough with it, because I just want to take my time and finish that, you know, a little slower. So, yeah. Without further ado, I apologize. Let's get right back into the video, okay? Third person point of view. Things had turned out just as it should. Minato had been named the 4th Hokage of the village and was in a celebration mood. For many people, it was the first time they saw Hokage take seat. Team 7 being 3 of those. So, I guess 2 of them, as Obito had in fact lived to see many. even thrown some into the grave along the lines. Obito was slightly chuckling at how some things just stayed the same. It's official, but there's still some things you need to attend to, Hiruzen said to the new Hokage already sitting in the office chair. By things you should attend to, you mean this, right? Minato sighed and pointed to the mountain of paperwork swaying on the table. Someone's gonna get squashed under that for sure. Yes, ciao! Hiruzen laughed in Minato's face and quickly fled the room. Freedom! His thoughts boomed. This only caused Minato to burst into laughter himself. The old man had been Hokage for many years. No wonder he was relieved to retire. Hey, Sensei, Kakashi walked into the room, his teammates chatting behind him. But as soon as Obito and Rin heard Kakashi being slightly startled, they looked up to see their sensei, as they both had the gut feeling it was his fault. Hello, kids, and Obito, Minato said, but never looked up. Why? Because he was having a staring contest with a stack of paperwork. You know, everyone says your arch nemesis is I, from the cloud. But whoever stated that has apparently never seen you do paperwork, Obito stated, but a tired chuckle. He had actually never seen Minato in the chair, only on the battlefield, but oh boy was he enjoying it. Minato gave out a sound that was something between a chuckle and the sigh of a dying man. So we wanted to personally congratulate you. We all know how hard you worked to become Hokage, Rin said. Oh, Rin decided to finally get to the point. I should have read that in a voice. Minato finally looked up with a kind smile. It sure has been a long journey, Minato said, more to himself than his students. All the things that had led up to this day. He could say for sure that had it not been for Kushina, he probably hadn't made it this far. His smile widened. But it's not over. He continued his statement, this time addressing the students. He didn't have to go into detail. There were too many. They knew what he meant. The journey was continuing for him, as well for them. Alright, so that's the end of that part. So we are up to chapter 41 right now. This chapter, I believe, Naruto gets born. It's literally titled October 10th. So right here, we're going to take a little break. And I will see you on the flip. Don't forget to... Alright, so without further delay, let's get right back on into the video, okay? Obito's point of view. It was ironic. It truly was. It was my time. In my time, I had attacked and killed the Anbu guarding Minato and Kushina. Now I was standing amongst the Anbu, helping them and guarding my sensei and his wife. The third Hokage had been against it, but Minato insisted we be here, not just as guards, but as his students, since he wanted us to be there when Naruto was born. In the end, Hiruzen had agreed to it. Minato was now the Hokage, after all. I felt like I was being watched and turned to the Anbu next to me, seemingly staring at me. I wasn't wearing a mask like him or her, so they could easily guess that I was a child, or at least that it's a child's body. I was being judged, so I flared my chakra and startled him enough to take a step away from me. Don't judge the book by its cover, man. Did I actually think that? Dear God, Datara did rub off on me. Don't judge the boom by its cover? Okay, I don't know. It truly was an odd feeling. The night was quiet. The moon and stars shone brightly. In my time, October 10th would since today be the annual Kyuubi festival. A time to mourn for their lost ones. A day to get drunk. A day that Naruto had time and time again been cornered by drunk groups. Thank God for the Anbu always looking after him. But now, October 10th would just be the day that the fourth Hokage's son was born. The very fact that Madara was dead and I was, well, good. It had made me so relieved. Minato's point of view. Something had gone wrong. Something was happening to the Nine Tails within Kushina while she gave birth. But it stopped the second Naruto was born. Of course, we were both crying of pure joy at finally seeing our boy's face. But we were quickly getting concerned. Babies cry when they're born. However, Naruto did not. It looked as if he was scanning the room while in shock, overwhelmed by confusion. Not something a newborn should do. We were all starting to become very anxious when about 1 minute had passed. Right then, my team came in. Obito, Rin, and Kakashi, and oddly enough, Naruto reached out, but only towards Obito. But then, he suddenly stiffened and started wailing. That was about an hour ago. Of course, Biwako and one of the nurses with her had done some tests on Naruto to make sure he was actually alright and wasn't suffering from some kind of brain damage. Somehow, your child bears half of the Nine Tails chakra within him. Obito had told me that Naruto originally only had half the Nine Tails chakra. He only got the other half at the end of the Fourth War. But why would our son in this timeline be born a Jinchuriki? What do you mean? Kushina, still weakened from childbirth, asked and reached out to hold her son, which the nursery? I don't know. We think it must have had something to do with the complications the seal underwent during childbirth. The Nine Tails might have tried to escape, but instead ended up partially sealed in your son. That's really the best explanation we've got, the nurse told us. We'll look into this, but if an answer cannot be provided, it's still relieving to know that the child will have his parents to help him with his struggles. Despite the dark theme of the conversation, I smiled at her words, but unlike in Obito's timeline, this time we'll be here to guide and love our son, so that hopefully he won't have to go through the same struggles. Is that why he has those whisker marks? Rin spoke, but gently poking the baby's face. Might be, Biwako said. Her back was turned to Obito, but I saw him shaking his head as if saying, wrong. Well, I think it's really cute, Rin answered, and Kushina agreed cheerfully. I had truly thought she'd be broken by these facts. After all, she knows how tough it is to be a Jinchuriki in the shinobi system. What went wrong? Obito asked me. Kushina and Naruto both needed to rest, so while they got that, I had agreed to talk to Obito. I have no idea. The Nine Tails was acting up, but don't think I didn't follow your instructions. It would always be weird talking to Obito like he's my senior. I know, but something did go wrong. If it's caused by the Nine Tails' little temper tantrum, time will show, I suppose, and hope. And I'm afraid it's having an effect on Naruto. And that's not mentioning that he was born a Jinchuriki. Yeah, I saw how he was acting. That was not normal behavior for someone born 5 minutes ago. We'll be taking some more tests in the coming months, just to check and see that it's not something that comes and goes. Yeah, that's a very good idea. The room was then indulged in silence, but I didn't like that. So why does he have those whisker marks? I asked with a tired and worried smile. Obito chuckled through his clenched cheek. When Naruto was influenced by the Nine Tails prior to birth, he gained the whisker marks. Ah, I see. Guess he would have been affected by Kushina being in Jinchuriki either way. Minato, Obito called while glaring at my feet. Yeah? If you'd let me, I could help Naruto gain control over this power. I know how he did it in my timeline. He should be able to do it here as well. You mean you'd be his sensei? I asked, slightly shocked but also happy. Don't say it like that. It weirds me out. But you know what? I'd actually like that. Obito-sensei. No, it doesn't sound right, Obito said and covered his face, clearly embarrassed. Hey, you were the one who brought it up, I laughed. Finally, the tension of the day was dispersing. Alright. Okay, so that's the first chapter. While we're loading, because nope, I think there's an issue. Alright then, well, I'm gonna have to cut again, and I will catch you after the little cut. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, sorry about that. It took a moment to figure things out. Without further ado, no more delaying. Let's finish this video off, okay? Obito's point of view. I was a Genin, became a Chunin, became an S-class criminal, turned around, died, traveled back to my Chunin days, and now I ended up becoming a babysitter? Life can be so unpredictable. My thoughts ran wild as I walked back and forth with a whimpering Naruto. It had only been a month since he was born, and everyone knowing of Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki continued to be baffled, myself included. This whole bafflement didn't become better either. Kushina has fallen sick. Nothing lethal. I checked, and she had most certainly lost 50% of the Nine Tails, the Yang half, which now resides in Naruto. So Kushina was sick due to the changing seal, as it was adjusting itself to hold only half of what it used to hold. But with Kushina sick and Minato having to switch between Hokage life and home life, they needed a babysitter. Why, Minato thought it'd be best to hire the ex-S-class criminals beyond me. But I gotta admit, it was kinda nice. Third person point of view. In through the window of Moonbeam comes little gold moonbeam with misty wings. All silent, creeping, it asks, is he sleeping? Sleeping and dreaming while mother sings. What is this? Up from the sea there floats the sob of the waves that are breaking upon the shore as though they... Aw, Ren exclaimed as she saw her teammate and friend Obito rocking baby Naruto reading a goodnight story called Japanese Lullaby aloud for him. She had come by to take over as babysitter. Kushina was feeling particularly bad that day and Obito needed sleep. Therefore, they constructed shifts. No, Obito said in a hushed tone, carefully not to wake the baby who was already half asleep. Here, I'll put him to bed, and then you can put yourself to bed, Rin said as she carefully pulled Naruto into her arms and started walking to the infirmary. These shifts don't make sense. I told you that sleep isn't necessary for me to stay healthy thanks to Hashirama cells, Obito said and gestured to his right arm, turned white due to the first Hokage's unusual cells. That doesn't mean you can't sleep, she said, tugging Naruto into the crib. You've been at it for hours. You must be tired, especially since it's Naruto you've been taking care of. She continued. Everyone had already figured out that Naruto suffered from ADHD or something. You know what? It's stupid arguing about this. Obito ended it. He knew that he and Rin had at least gotten better at getting into arguments since he traveled back. So now he was better at ending it before it turned into a big deal. They had now put Naruto into his crib. And so the two of them had taken a seat on the couch in the living room. Is it wrong for me to wish that you'd quickly forget that you're from the future? Rin said very suddenly after a while of sitting in silence. You mean the memory erasing thing that's been going on every time I change something? Obito sighed before answering. That's not wrong, you know. I wish so myself. Rin's head whipped towards him in slight shock. You do? Why? I mean, it's your entire life. Obito let out a bitter laugh. Life? That was no life. Not really. When I died, I had nothing left in the world. I had no legacy, only the trauma I pushed onto the world. Now I want that life to disappear, so I can live for real. For the first time, to live without guilt. That would be the best. In life, what do you want it to be? Well, first of all, I still want to be Hokage, just in a bit of a different way. This time, it's not for the title or my ego. Second, I suppose a family would be nice. I know it's not much to go off by, but I think life takes you where you're supposed to go. I think those are good goals, Obito, and I'm glad to know you still want to be Hokage. I hope you still remember your promise, she joked. Well, I know I'm not Hokage yet, but haven't I already saved the world, like, once in every timeline? Obito laughed and Rin joined in with a giggle. And just keep at it, Obito. Even when or if your memory should disappear, I'll remember that you've already done it twice. Obito's eyes watered a bit at her kindness. Bro, I digress. We're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. Wait, what? I just lost my Crunchyroll Premium. Hey, yo. Oh, bro. Dang. That's tough. He didn't understand why it had been so easy to tears ever since traveling back with her. If it was just Rin, the guilt, or everything. Thank you, Rin. I'm not sure you ever really realized how much you meant to me, how much you believed in me when no one else did. Of course I know, you might have not said it outright, but there's not always a need for that. Just the look on your face back then when we made that promise. Rin, Obito didn't get to finish what he was going to say because Naruto started wailing again. Does that sound like a wet cry to you or a hungry cry, Rin asked. Hungry, I'll go warm the bottle, Obito said and practically flew off the couch. And I'll go and soothe him. Alright, so that's the end of chapter 42. We are now on chapter 43, otherwise known as Jiraiya's visit, which is the start of this chapter. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't really got much to say. Like, comment, and subscribe. I respond to all comments, heart all comments, like all comments when I see them. Discord link in the description, Instagram link in the description, as well as the story link in the description if you want to read the story for yourself. Don't like the way that I narrate things. whatever the case may be. You read the story for yourself, and you know, there will be no offense taken. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay happy, stay blessed, and without further ado, this is your boy, the Anime Ambu, and I'm gonna catch you on the flip. Deuces.